So I didn't finish it because the debate went into different directions, and it's very nice. I'm welcoming all debates, all questions. Please don't hesitate. Shoot and go ahead. And we will always address these issues. I'm very interested in challenges because they have to be solved within the paradigm. If they are not solved, that means it's useless for us. If I don't see what you see, or we do not see in the same way, that means we are dealing with something very abstract and not applicable to life and understanding. So it's always good to have any question. There are no stupid questions, only stupid answers. So don't worry. So I want to finalize this presentation here for today before Lazo will take over with his presentation on music, which is very unique and interesting. And what I wanted to say, that these 6 faculties, as we see them in this diagram, in the pre-Sankhyaik paradigm are free. They represent consciousness. They represent consciousness on every level of our being. And there are many levels. On the physical level, they will operate as a physical mind, as a sight, as an eye, an ear, and so on. Yes? Skin, touch. But on the vital level, they also have their representation. We can see on the vital level, we can hear the word, we can express ourselves in the vital world, in the state of dreams. We see things, sense them, express ourselves, we talk, we hear the words, and there are no eyes, no ears there. How do we do that? So they are also present there, all the faculties. They are also present on the mental level. In the same way, there will be a conceptualizing mind, there will be seeing capacity of philosophical overview, there will be all the faculties, even senses, even sensing the reality, feeling the reality on that higher level. And there is even body, Manomaya Purusha, the body of the mental being is there. Even the body is there. So there are bodies. There is a physical body, there is a vital body, there is a mental body, embodiment of consciousness, and there is a supramental embodiment, which is going far beyond. So if we take, for example, Sri Aurobindo's quotations on these, that he says that whatever the word, whatever the speech here we have in this manifested world, there must be a form in the vital world preceding it. So the vital formation of what is now expressed must be there, otherwise it would not come into being in the physical. The vital is forming and embodying the speech here in this physical world. But for the vital to take that force and power, there has to be mental speech before, the seeing speech, the speech which is conceptualizing the force. And for that, the supramental has to be there. So everything here is a transmission from the supramental to the physical. Everything. There is nothing here in this world which is not coming from the highest source. And these are the faculties which are providing that transmission. They're distorting it, they're dressing it into their own domains, into their own languages on every level, but truly speaking, they're transmitting it with distortion, of course. Makes sense? The same with the mind. There is supermind, there is overmind, there is intuitive mind, there is higher mind, illumined higher mind, there is vital mind, there is physical mind. Mind.
Why do they make all these classifications?
Because it is true. It's not because of there's nothing better to do, only to classify. It was experienced. it was seen, it was exercised by someone. Sribinu gives all these gradations. The same with the word from the highest to the lowest. And these are the faculties. The same with the sight. The highest vision is a revelation of the truth, which then transmits itself to this lower side of what we see outside ourselves, to the eye. The same with the hearing. There is the highest hearing, inspiration of the truth, which comes down, Shruti, as a revelation of the word on the highest. Music is the best example of it. And then it can come down from higher spheres, this music. Of course it will be distorted by instruments, by imperfect instruments, not well balanced. So our purpose is to just clarify that, to create that integral instrument which would distort less and less that which comes from the inner source. That's the purpose.
Can you please define feeling? Because with anam and embodiment and matter, this is very clear. But prana it needs a definition of feeling. Prana is so much more than feeling is the perception of the body.
Right, I put feeling because the feeling is that what is known to us here in this world as the energy, pranic energy. It is actually this chakra which is responsible. We have the body of 3 levels of 3 chakras basically, which are responsible for our vital world. This is senses, sensation in the physical body, which is what we call it, Svadhisthana chakra. Then we have Manipura, which is proper feeling, that crack antariksha, which is introducing all the worlds from beyond into our hemisphere. We will talk about it later in the Vedic paradigm. I don't want to confuse you now, but you are just pulling their leg. So I will have to say a few words. And there is a higher feeling, which is emotions, which is more mental. So we have mental feeling, vital feeling, and physical feeling. Physical feeling, sensations, vital feeling, proper feeling, and a higher feeling is emotions. You see, so we have so many things in the vital. So the vital is this triple realm, Trini Rajansi in the Veda, 3 luminous realms of this force, life force. Very mysterious thing, this life. Nobody knows what life is. Can anybody explain what life is? And just some thoughts? Koan?
Metaphysical complexity.
Yeah, this is the Koan.
You want to move on, then I can make it later.
Yeah, you please clarify what you want to say. It's good to on the spot.
I think on the objective side of feeling, there are qualities, qualia. So you can take prana as the essential force behind the production of any quality. But you can also take prana as the grasping of the quality that is in the thing. And so feeling is as good a term as anything for that inner-outer field. Prana is a field. And to his question, why do you call it this mind, and this mind? Sri Aurobindo's psychology is based upon this Vedic paradigm. And the Vedic paradigm says that matter is a level of mind, and the life force is a level of mind, and the intellect is a level of mind, and the plane of the gods is a level of mind. So these are densifications from the highest level of supermind to the most material level of existence. That's the Vedic paradigm. So that's what he's using in his philosophy.
There is something more in my studies which was, to me, became clear that prana is actually that division of heaven and earth on our mental and physical being, which I'm not showing here. in this presentation because it wasn't part of it, but for those who are interested in pre-Vedantic, in the Vedic paradigm, we can look into it, the creation of heaven and earth, the split on two, who are in the supramental equal in one, they become hierarchically kind of posted or created or placed hierarchically, that the mind will be above and the earth will be below. That prana, which split them into two, is coming from elsewhere. It's not just prana of this world. It is coming from the supramental crack. The supramental is also dividing, holding the transcendental and this world. It's a bigger antariksha behind this antariksha. So that is the secret of prana, where it comes from. It is not by itself a result of the split of mental and physical consciousness. It is a creator of the split. It is the supramental force, life force. And that's why it's so mysterious. Yeah, I finished.
I was wondering about attention, where you would put it in the system, because it feels like it's the common point in a lot of in many of the senses and faculties, the bringing our attention to an object or having that attention of that object in ourselves. So is it something common? Is it an expression of the consciousness, or would you do it?
Attention. We will come to attention, and these are the faculties as we know them, but behind them there are secret operations, and there will be attending consciousness, one of them. And then we will see how they relate to these. It would be interesting exercise. This would be tomorrow, I guess. But now I will finish just the first part, which is important for us to hold before we go into deeper sense of it. So we have faculties and varieties of consciousness. There are two different approaches to studies to the studies of consciousness. One is about the faculties as we look at them, mind, sight, hearing, and so on, word, on all the levels, from the transcendental, universal, and on the individual level, everywhere we have these faculties. And the other approach is about the soul and its influence through these faculties on the world. The soul, which is involved in the process of evolution, trying to emerge and to guide all the other members of consciousness, is called Antaratman, or Chaitya Purusha, psychic being, in Sri Aurobindo terminology. It is using all the members of consciousness to express itself and to build up a passage through them, as if, to the surface of consciousness, where it should bring its influence and light. And for that was the original purpose of it coming down into the material inconscient, with the help of these very faculties. It's a very complex statement, but these faculties helped to bring the universal Purusha into the manifestation. And this universal Purusha in the manifestation is present only as individual. Boom. We are all presenting the universal Purusha through the universal faculties of his. They belong to him, not to us. But because of this projection that faculties made out of him into the midst of this creation, they brought also his presence. And Mother speaks about psychic presence. This is that. Psychic presence is a presence of Purusha through the faculties, which is slowly in evolutionary process becomes a psychic being, an individualized Purusha, supreme. And this is the mystery, the birth of the supreme in this world. The psychic being is the greatest mystery. Some of you are aware of Sri Aurobindo's, yes, philosophy of the psychic being. Maybe not all of you, but many of you. So this is done by these faculties. But there is someone who wants to go to use them to come to the surface. The Supreme wants to come through them, by them, with their help, to the surface, to be born here in this world. This is his way. He can't be born otherwise. Without them, there is no way to come to the surface, to come into material manifestation. Make sense? Little sense. Yeah? Less and less sense it makes. And I'm rounding up. So we will be talking about Adhyatmic epistemology. That means the spiritual approach to knowledge. There are two major approaches to the studies of the self in terms of the secret operations of consciousness and the verities of psychic being. Now, the psychic being is that which is being formed here with the help of those faculties. But these faculties are coming from secret operations of consciousness. So we have as if two realities, yeah? Higher realities. One is these faculties, seeing, hearing, and the verities of the psychic being, sincerity, humility, inspiration, courage. Where would you put courage into the seeing or hearing? What are these? Sincerity, goodness, equality, peace. These are the qualities of the psychic. They want to come to the surface through these faculties. So you see, we have two realities. One is very mechanical, functional, the consciousness as it is, how it functions within us, and the other is some living being in us who wants to use these faculties and come to the surface. It is not that consciousness is a living being. No, it's only instrumental to that psychic formation.
Can you connect that to the word truth?
Truth is also part of it, yeah. That was the psychic perception, truthfulness, sincerity. You may see something, you may hear something, but how true it is, who will determine? If you see it already, or hear it already, or believe it is so, who will determine that it is true? Only the psychic being can.
What is real? Self is it.
Exactly. What is real is a big question. It's a big question.
Everything is dual. So it's never object.
Right. So, there are secret operations that sure been in us, in our subconscious and superconscious selves, which precede this action, but of these we are not aware. In our surface being, and therefore for us they do not exist. If we knew of them, our whole conscious functioning would be changed. We are not aware how these secret operations manifest, these faculties. If we were aware of them, can you imagine what would be with us? We would see from the beginning how our consciousness operates here. So we would change our way of dealing with ourselves and the world totally. So that's why they are secret. Most probably they should stay secret as long as it is possible. We are trying to discover something which we should not try, because we will distort the way of the world, how it should function. So here we have these essential operations or secret operations of consciousness, samajnana, ajnana, vijnana and prajnana, about which we will be talking next time. How these four major operations of consciousness create in us the faculties.
You have 10 minutes now.
I have 10 minutes. So you understand about what we are talking. We are talking about adhyatmic level, on the level of the self, beyond adhidaiva, beyond the faculties. There is a consciousness within the self which already manifests these faculties here, as sight, hearing, and so on. These are known to us, but there are other deeper faculties within them which determine them as such. Otherwise, there could be different faculties if consciousness would choose to do it differently. So we have to know what are those secret operations and what do they really do in order to see where these faculties are coming from, and then they become senses and our world perception in a particular way. Make sense?
So what you said in the beginning about the part that's being in the dark, that you then enlighten so that less of you becomes dark and more of it becomes light. So you're closer to the purity? Or?
Right. We want to know from the deepest, the highest source of our consciousness, of ourself, the consciousness which comes down. It's just a study here, but that we want to bring to the surface, right? So our faculties will become only channels of those operations and will be functioning very differently. Not the way they are functioning today. Today we are thinking, we are quarreling, arguing, we feel different things, we are hurt, we feel hurt, and so on. Yeah, about these. I'm always reminded about them. Yes, how do they work? It is outgoing to the thing as such, to go to it and to recognize it as a separate thing, as an objective thing, without feeling it, without making it our own, knowing it as such in its own place. So we are going out of ourselves to examine it, to analyze it, to synthesize the bits and pieces of it as such, regardless to ourselves. Does it make sense? Two movements of apprehensive consciousness. In making ourselves, going out and seeing as it is in its own domain. And these are both apprehensive movements. I will skip this. Vijnana. Now we had two movements of apprehensive consciousness, now we will have two movements of comprehensive consciousness. Consciousness which gives us understanding. Not consciousness which is establishing the contact with the self and seeing the self as such, but the movement which brings us understanding. Vijnana is the original comprehensive, no more apprehensive, comprehensive consciousness which holds an image of things in its essence, totality, parts and properties. It is the original, spontaneous, true, complete view of it, which belongs properly to the supermind, and of which mind has only a shadow in the highest operations of the comprehensive intellect. Notice this totality, all the properties, all the relations, meaningful relations. When we see this thing, it is apprehensively we see something, but to understand what it is, we have to see all what it can do. So it can click, it can change the screen, it can do many things. This is not visible. It goes beyond the apprehension. It is hiding in some vaster view on things. So this is exactly this, which holds in essence, totality, parts and properties. All these parts and properties are not visible, but they are understood by this comprehensive consciousness. How it can relate to this table, to this computer, to my hand, to you, by me clicking here, you will have the change, all of you will change. This is all within this small thing, and many more. I clicked already. And there is one more comprehensive movement. Ajnana is the operation by which consciousness dwells on an image of things so as to govern and to possess it in power. If that one was in knowledge, this is in power. The four, therefore, are the basis of all conscious action. Now, if we analyze our conscious activity, any action, for example, I took my glasses and put on the table, these four have to be there. First of all, I have to have a relation, well, comprehensive relation of the glasses, my nose, table. All these three things are comprehensively related. Then, ajnana is to possess it in power. Power, I applied power to shift it from one place to another. Moreover, to do all that, I have to have a total identity of this thing with myself in conscious substance. I have to identify it with myself, otherwise I would not be able to make this operation. And the fourth one, prajnana, I have to know it as such, how it behaves in its own domain, without me identifying. So these four are always, constantly, immediately present in every conscious action. Make sense?
Yes.
Should make. It's very logical. Bring any example, any other example, we can look at it and it will be very easy to see how these four are there. If you start analyzing it, you will see that they are indispensable for any conscious activity.
It's almost so logical that it even becomes more complicated by breaking it down into four.
Very nice. It's logic. Yeah, it doesn't contradict logic and it's good. Okay, I am finishing now. I will explain with 5 pranas later when it will be more appropriate moment. Thank you. And Rod, please take. 1 minute of silence. Can we do? And
yeah, if once again, I think it's useful just to concentrate your attention on thinking back since the last time you took a few minutes to reflect and kind of gather what we've been through. So think about what Vladimir's just shared, think about what was shared before lunch, and let's try to pull out 2 things in particular. So if you can really focus on what was the most important thing that you learned. So what was the real, it doesn't have to be one thing, but what are the real gems, the real things you would like to take away, you'd like to remember a year from now? What are those sort of most precious learning points? And again, are there things which are confusing or not clear, things that you would like to still get more clarity on? So I'd like you to try and distill it into those 2 things. If you have pen and paper, it would be very useful for you to write that down.